What is up, party people? In this video, I will be doing a little bit of a taste test today, trying to find out what the best chocolate bar out there is. Now, as you can see, I'm holding a bunch of chocolate bars. I'm a big fan of chocolate, as is probably everybody else out there. It's an experiment that I want to do for a while. I'm just wondering, like, what is the best chocolate out there? I want to know. And so I thought, hey, why not do this experiment? Now, you might see something like the Dove chocolate is not a full bar. I couldn't find the full milk chocolate bar, so we're going to have to do with pieces. But it's the same chocolate. It's the same thing, right? I got the Ritter Sport. It's got a little bit of hazelnut in it. I'll try to, not focus on that. Everything else is milk chocolate. So we're keeping the test pure today. It's just a milk chocolate test, okay? No dark chocolate, no sea salt, no caramel, no nuts. Well, except for the hazelnuts. But let's go through the categories, which not the categories, but what kind of chocolate I got. Now, I got mostly the most popular stuff here in the U.S., right? So we've got Ghirardelli milk chocolate, as you can see. It's a little bit. There we go. Ghirardelli. Cadbury, classic. This thing called Lily's, I found it at Target. I don't know what it is, but I thought it might be an interesting brand to throw in there. We've got Dove, as I showed you before. Dove, you can't see it, it's blurry. Dove. We've got Lint, classic Lint milk chocolate. We've got the American classic Hershey's, and we've got Ritter Sport. And last but not least, we've got Godiva. Can you see that? Godiva. Okay, so those are all the brands we have today. Those are, again, the most popular brands here in the U.S. I'm sure if you live abroad, there's different brands that are popular. But as I live here in the United States, these are the chocolates that we're going to have to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste test every single one of them and then rank them from my favorite to my least favorite. Now, I can't imagine any of these are going to be bad. They're all good chocolates. But let's start ranking them, and let's start with the classic Hershey's. Now, I'm going to predict ahead of time that this is going to be my least favorite. Hershey's, to me, in a bar form, is plenty good, but it has a little bit of a weird taste to it, if I'm going to be honest, okay? So, we got the classic Hershey's rectangles, right? I mean, it's good. All chocolate's good. It's got a very straightforward flavor and a very sweet flavor. Like, Hershey's is super sweet. The 1 second I need to get my water to cleanse my palate. Okay, I'm back. Again, Hershey, super sweet. I haven't, eaten Hershey's in such a, analytical way. It's super sweet, which I'm not a huge fan of. Okay, next up, we've got Lint. I think I'm going to like Lint. From when I've had it before, it's always super good. It's always super creamy. I love this tin foil that it comes in. Let's see how they space out theirs. Also rectangles. I guess most of these are going to be rectangles, but in a longer row of rectangles, as you can see. In terms of color, it's much lighter than the Hershey's. A lot lighter. Which to me seems like a good thing. It's going to be creamier. Much creamier. Super creamy flavor. The hints of cacao and chocolate almost like hit you around the mouth rather than like straight in the back of the palate like the Hershey's did. I'm going to be honest with you. I like that a lot better than the Hershey's. A lot better. Next up, Dove. Again, we only have pieces of it. Couldn't find a full bar of it. But hey, it's chocolate, baby. Plain old chocolate. All right, Dove. Comes in this little square. I might like that more than the Lint. Okay. They're both super creamy chocolates. Going back and forth. Lint. Clear palate. Dove. They're very similar. Creaminess forward. I think the Lint might be a little too understated. The Dove hits a little harder. I have to think about that. Moving on. Ghirardelli. Milk chocolate. I don't really eat Ghirardelli that much, so I don't really have any preconceived notions about it. The other three I've already tried. I'm in this big old square with an eagle on it with the logo. This almost has a fruity flavor to it. Or more of a liqueur flavor to it, which I don't like. I'm not a big favorite of chocolate liqueur. I mean, it doesn't have liqueur in it, but it tastes like that. Let me taste this next to the Hershey's. Hershey's smells kind of weird, too. This certainly has more flavor than the Hershey's. A more complex flavor. I don't really like either of these. It's interesting when you eat things like back to back, like how different something like like something that's so milk chocolate between Lint, they taste so different. I don't like that chocolate liqueur flavor. And then Ghirardelli. I don't like that at all. But also the Hershey's is just so sweet and like uncomplex. It's hard. I don't know which one I like least. Okay, let's go on to Godiva. Godiva. A nice shell shape. I'm guessing their bars aren't in a shell shape, but I could find these milk chocolate ones, so that's what I went with. You know what? These have a little bit of a hazelnut flavor to them, which is throwing me off a little bit. I'm trying to avoid the hazel. It's got like hazel on the inside, I think, or hazel flavored chocolate on the inside. I'm trying to pick that out. I'm not getting much from this. It's pretty bland. Not bad, but bland. I mean, bland chocolate isn't horrible. Alright, I think I've officially removed a big chunk of the actual chocolate away from the hazelnut. But it's hard to... I like hazelnut. It's pretty bland. It's not giving me a lot. I like it better than the Ghirardelli and the Hershey's because I think maybe I like that sort of lightness in a milk chocolate more than something that comes with like a pretty distinct flavor. But it's not giving me a whole lot. All right, let's move on to this one I've never heard of, never tried before, Lily's. Now it says creamy milk chocolate style. I don't know what that means. What's a milk chocolate style? It's sweetened by stevia. Yuck, which I'm not the biggest flavor fan of. It's got a bunch of weird ingredients in it that I've never heard of. Whoa, this one is dark for being a milk chocolate. Look at that. That's like, look at that compared to like the Lint. Whoa, dude. That is way dark for a milk chocolate. Alright. It says Lily's all over it. Small rectangles. That's not good. That's milk chocolate? What is this? What is going on here? Milk chocolate style. Creamy milk. Oh, I just spit chocolate everywhere. Sweet and creamy. No sugar added. Not good. I mean, maybe it's not fair to put them in this since they're no sugar added. Oh, that's not good chocolate. Especially compared to that other stuff. This sugar-infused milk chocolate. That is not good. Okay, we've got the Ritter Sport. It's got some hazelnuts in it. I couldn't find the Ritter Sport, just creamy milk chocolate, but I'll try to avoid that. Avoid the nuts in my eating. Ritter Sport, big square. Pretty standard color. Not too light, not too dark. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna avoid the nuts. As you can see, the nuts are in the back there, but you can avoid them. Alright, we've got a pure chocolate taste. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. Sorry, I'm thinking. That's a pretty good chocolate. It's not too creamy, but it has a distinct taste. But not like a distinct taste that like puts you off, like a Ghirardelli or a Hershey's. I like this. That's a good chocolate. A solid chocolate, I would say. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid the nuts. That's pretty good. Okay. I'm starting to calculate my ranking now. Okay, next up, Cadbury. This is usually what I eat. Like when I go to the store and I want a chocolate bar, I'll get a Cadbury. Why? Because it's creamy. I like creamy, I guess. I'm discovering. I like creamy chocolates, especially when it comes to milk. Now, I love dark chocolate too, don't get me wrong. But if I'm going for a milk chocolate, it seems that I like the creaminess of it. Here it is. Pretty light color. Now, these are in squares. Now, this has a good mixture of sweetness and creaminess. And the sweetness it has is a much better sweetness than the Hershey's. It's less direct, if that makes sense. But it's kind of good in sweetness and good in creaminess, but not great in either. If that makes sense. But that's a good chocolate bar. Alright, I'm going to taste this next to the Lint because these two are battling right now. Let me clear my palate. Some good old H2O. Okay, Lint. The Lint is not very sweet, and I kind of like that. But maybe it's a little too subtle. I don't know. But the creaminess in it really does hit right. Back to the Cadbury. I think it's a little too sweet for me, the Cadbury. Wow, interesting. Okay. I'm going to have another Dove. Okay. These are probably my top three right now. Dove, Cadbury. Although, I don't know. Rittenhouse Sport was pretty good. It might. Okay. I'm going Cadbury and Rittenhouse Sport. Trying to avoid the nuts. That's what she said. The Rittenhouse Sport is pretty good. Pretty subtle, too. Cadbury comes with a lot more punch than the Rittenhouse. Okay. Now Dove. Palate cleanse. The top 3 or 4 are harder than I thought. I thought it was going to be a more clear winner. but there's really not. Dove. The Dove is good. It's super creamy. And I think it carries a little bit more punch than the Lint. Fuck. Excuse my language. This is hard. Okay. Wow. Lint and Dove are my top two. I'm sure about that. They're really, like, they're really similar. But Dove might bring a little bit more punch, but the Lint might have a better tasting creaminess, if that makes sense. Okay, Lint. So subtle. But I like that. And the creaminess feels so natural, doesn't feel processed. The Dove brings a whole lot more flavor. But I don't know if it's, I mean, it's good flavor, but I don't know if it's good enough to beat the Lint. It feels a little bit more processed, maybe. A little bit more sugar. Okay. I think I'm ready to rank. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. Okay, we'll start from the least to the top, okay? To make it dramatic. Last place is Lily's. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have had them in this category, but that was not good. Stevia flavored milk chocolate. They said it was milk chocolate. They said it was creamy. I thought, hey, maybe this will be good. An alternative to sugar. Nah. Nah, bro. That was not good. Number... In second to last, I'm going to have to go with Ghirardelli. I don't know. Maybe if you have a super refined palate, maybe I don't have a refined palate. Maybe if you have a really refined palate, you'll like it. I just don't like chocolate liqueur tasting stuff, and that chocolate liqueur was like the main flavor in it, and just not my style. Next, I'm going to have to put Hershey's. Now, it's a classic chocolate bar, and if I was to eat it alone, I would have no complaints. But next to this other stuff, it's just not that good. It's super sweet. It's not that creamy. Yeah, it's not that great. Next up, we've got Godiva. It was a pretty neutral chocolate. Maybe I screwed that one up by getting the hazelnut in the middle, and maybe that was... But I really took the milk chocolate on its own, and it wasn't bad at all. It didn't offend me at all, but it didn't do anything for me, basically. It was just like super neutral, so wasn't the biggest fan of that. Now this one's hard, these next two. Based on the day, they might switch. That's how close they are. But next up, I'm going to do the Rittenhouse Sport. It was quite good. That was actually probably my dark horse. I wasn't expecting a lot out of that, and I was like, okay, that's a pretty good chocolate, actually. But it just didn't bring enough to the table to get a little bit higher, if that makes sense. Next up, I'm going to go with a Cadbury. I think that's the best sweet chocolate out there, like super sweet chocolate. It's super sweet like the Hershey's, but it's a more refined sweetness. It's not just like punch you in the back of the throat, wow, this is sweet. And it's got creaminess too. Again, it's kind of like, it's like a B student. It's just like, they're good at math, they're good at social studies too, but they're not great at either. You know what I mean? That's Cadbury. Okay. When I first tried these two, okay, so we've got Dove and Lint. Those are the last two. Let me just double check if that's true. Let me just see. Yes, okay. Now, when I first tried these two, it would have been the opposite order. But now, trying them again, trying all the chocolates, I think at number 2, I'm going to go with Dove. It's really good. It's really creamy, but it might be just a little bit not refined enough. Lint just might be just a better chocolate, just like a slightly better. The ingredients might be slightly better. The makers might know what they're doing a little bit better. Dove feels sort of like it's kind of like processed brother. Like it's One's made by a gourmet chef and one's made by like a really good chef, if that makes sense, but not a gourmet chef. So number one, I'm gonna have to put Lint. I mean, gosh, that is good chocolate, and it's subtle chocolate. It's doesn't bring a whole lot of flavor, but I kind of like that in the chocolate, and it really lets the creaminess kind of run the show. And for me, I mean, again, maybe your palate's different. For me, that creaminess is what takes over, and it's a really delicious creaminess. It doesn't feel like kind of like the Dove where they're like, oh, let's add creaminess. How can we do that? All right, let's add some processed ingredients or something. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know much about chocolate ingredients, but the Lint felt more refined, a little bit more. The when you eat it, your palate feels like, oh, this is good stuff, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's my chocolate. Wow, that's my chocolate bar list, my chocolate bar ranking. Have you guys tried these chocolates before? What's your favorite of these? Are there chocolates in your country that you think I should try? I would love to try chocolates from different countries that you think might be, better than Lint, better than Dove, better than my top two. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.